Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super Dragon Ball discussion video at this point, honestly, because it's not necessarily Dragon Ball Super, but that is, will Dragon Ball Super ever end? And for the most part, why Dragon Ball Super should never end, or Dragon Ball as a series in general. And to help me discuss this, I am once again joined by MJ.
MJ from Geekless TV.
God.
What's going on, bro? How you doing?
What's up, man? Always good to have you on. How are you?
I am doing good. I just rubbed one out, so I am just fine right now. I'm on cloud 11 right now, but that's where I'm at.
You turned it up to 11 with that. All right. Keep it family friendly. Anyway, so here's the thing. Here's the thing, MJ, and anyone who's listening to this, guys, go down to the comment section below. Tell us what you think about this. But I was thinking about this the other day, in terms of Dragon Ball ending. I mean, obviously, as a fan base, we know that Dragon Ball has ended a couple times at this point. You know, Dragon Ball considered an ending, Dragon Ball Z is considered an ending, Dragon Ball GT, and we've yet to see exactly how Super is going to end, let alone all the video games and everything else and how that ended. And it kind of got me thinking about it back in about 2015. I can't remember who, but someone put a kind of a graph together, a scientific mathematical graph using IMDb ratings from fans about particular episodes to kind of encompass the most disappointing and the best television finales of all time. Like in a scientific list, like what do we all think are the worst television endings of all time? And if I remember correctly, Dragon Ball Z was I think second worst of all time. People don't like that particular ending, and then a lot of the people in the fan base do kind of acknowledge that while GT is not very good, it does have a really nice ending. And I was thinking about that the other day, considering the fact that we have Super now, and inevitably at some point in the next couple years, even I have no idea, but eventually Super has to end. And I was thinking, like, does it really matter? Honestly, the biggest question, does it really matter how Super ends? Or is this one of the few shows, and I know a lot of shows are, especially shows like this, like who kind of episodic, kind of sitcom-y, with fights or shonen mangas or something, like, does it matter how they end, or does the journey matter? Because personally, I feel like when it comes to Dragon Ball, the journey is what really matters, because there's no real underlying theme that we're trying to get to. Goku and Co do not have underlying goals that are definable. They just want to fight and have fun fighting and everything like that. And Super has probably been the biggest example of that particular goal set for Goku and Vegeta, at least in particular. So, man, what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel like this relates to any of the other really popular shows? How do you think it relates? And do you think that in that context it should ever end, or will ever end, considering?
I don't think it really ever should end, because it is about the journey. There really is no end set goal other than just for Goku to constantly train and become stronger, which it's not really that much of a goal. That's just like his own little personal goal, and then everyone else, like Vegeta, would probably, I guess, want to achieve the same. But I don't think it's ever really going to end, just due to the fact that, well, it will probably end. Super will probably end, but I just don't think it should ever end, just due to what we've been told in the series. Like, when you look at One Piece, another Toei-produced anime, One Piece, you know, Oda has written that show to be where Luffy is striving to be the Pirate King. You know, he's looking for the One Piece. So that's that. We're probably going to get a satisfying ending. It probably would be really satisfying, considering that shit's over 700 episodes now. So when we get to the end, it'll be really satisfying, you know, and it'll be a satisfying end to probably one of the best shows of all time, in my opinion. Moving back to Dragon Ball, I just don't feel like it really should end, you know what I mean, because there's really no goal like that. Like, Goku's goal is just to get strong. That's all there is to it. And to be honest, I think one of the best endings overall, bro. Like, I know GT is a real cool ending, but I do think Dragon Ball probably has the best ending in the series, especially when you combine the 22nd tournament to the 23rd tournament. I feel like that's probably the best portion of the entire Dragon Ball franchise ever told and ever written. A few examples being that, obviously Goku loses to Chun in the 21st tournament. 22nd tournament, Chun is, for some reason, even though, you know, it was implied he was holding back, he still gives it to the next generation. He lets Ten Shinhan win, then Ten Shinhan and Goku go at it, and Ten Shinhan barely wins. So Goku has not yet won the tournament. Move past this, we get into the Piccolo Daimao arc. People have had their issues with it. I think it's a fine arc, but I think when you wrap everything up in that nice little package, like, just think of this for an example: is Roshi's no longer competing in the 23rd tournament. He's no longer under the persona of Chun. It's now the next generation. Goku then fights Piccolo. He saves the world, and not only does he save the world, he actually wins the Tenkaichi Budokai. For the first time, Goku's actually won the tournament. And at this point in time, just think about how he won it. His last trump card was the Buko Jutsu, which is the flying technique. What was that technique? That's from the Pseudo Sinin school. Ten Shinhan. He used his trump card was the technique of his previous rival in the previous tournament. I think that is some good writing by Toriyama. I feel like everything was just wrapped up in a nice little package if you combine the 22nd and the 23rd tournament, and the whole him just, getting married with Chi-Chi. I feel like that was probably one of the best endings of Dragon Ball. There's GT, there's Z, there's obviously Dragon Ball. I feel like Dragon Ball, people will argue with me, but I feel like it is the best, but it is definitely better than Z's without a doubt, and arguably up there with GT's in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it, but Dragon Ball did have an ending with the Dragon Ball ending, and I did like it. But as far as now, like, once we've gotten into the Z territory, the Saiyans, Zenkai's constantly getting stronger, the gods now and Super, I just feel like I don't think it really could end, because that's all it is. Goku's constantly going to want to thrive to get stronger. If somehow he does surpass Beerus by Super, he's going to want to surpass the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
If he somehow surpasses the Grand Prix, he's going to want to surpass. It's just constantly about getting stronger and stronger and stronger,
No, I completely agree with that. And, with what you're saying about the original Dragon Ball ending, Dragon Ball was a fantastic ending in terms of it's more about the journey than the end goal, even though the end goal was satisfying for what it's worth, because like you said, it kind of brought together a lot of the elements from the original series. Is what we really want from an ending, for God's sakes. When people don't like Dragon Ball Z's ending is because, yeah, it kind of came out of like left field. It came out of nowhere. But at the same time, it's kind of like what Dragon Ball was too, and it is kind of exactly what Dragon Ball GT was, and hopefully what Super is going to be. Is it leaves the door wide open, but feels like a cinematic conclusion in terms of what they were trying to go for and where Goku's at in his life. It's not that there are no adventures to come, or nothing else to be had, but there is a new dynamic to it, a new recreation of the series at that point that you can imagine that they would kind of reintroduce and re-explore. With Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, you had Goku basically becoming an alien, kind of being rewritten as, okay, well, he's been this alien this whole time, and like that was enough of a re-explanation and exploration of the series in order to get us basically all of Z at that level. And then GT, even though a little less so, it was more of, we're rewriting the whole thing, we're kind of starting over. It was like a fresh reboot type of series, and we're going to be universe hopping instead of world hopping, which is, or not universe, but more galaxy, universal scope. At least that's how they started.
They went all over space,
At least, yeah, that's how they started. And with Super, it was more like, okay, well, the whole GT thing didn't work out, so we're going to move it to God and multiverse. And then, theoretically, you can have any other sequel to Super going even further beyond and making and introducing a new level, a new world of exploration into the series in general. Like Super has introduced a lot of material. I know Danny has said this. I know a lot of people have said this over and over again. Like, Super has introduced enough material to give us 10 decades worth of, not 10 decades, like a decade at least of Dragon Ball material.
10 decades.
10 decades, man. 10 decades. It really has given us a lot of material that they can get through, but at least a decade's worth of material in terms of the anime, considering how they go about it, honestly, because I guess one of the things that they would have to worry about is the fact that maybe not like they're going through certain storylines and certain dynamics and kind of utilizing certain ways not as particularly well as they should have, or how they can be, in order to keep the storylines interesting and fresh for upcoming arcs that they necessarily haven't thought about. But that's like a hurdle that they're going to have to go and get to when they get there. And like I said, Super, or even Dragon Ball in general, is no stranger to that particular type of storytelling. obviously they're just going to have to work around even retcon things in order to keep it going. And like you said, when it comes to One Piece, Luffy has to find the One Piece. Luffy either has to attain his goal or not obtain his goal. That's the ending. Naruto, he had to become Hokage. Like, it was his goal from episode, these are their goals from episode 1. And that puts them on an undeniable defined path. Like, no matter what happens, if we don't get to that point where they get to, where they actually get their particular life goal, then what was this all for? How do we explain all of these interactions that they've had, all of these tests and these tests and these issues that they've had? But Dragon Ball has never necessarily had that. I mean, even Yu Yu Hakusho or Bleach has had something of that ilk, where it's like, yeah, there might not be a defined ending, but they're like agents for other entities or larger spiritual entities or something, where they have one mission after another, and they're detectives or soul reapers or something who are basically put on jobs. Super never necessarily had that. Super started as a journey, and it kind of, or not Super, but Dragon Ball in general started as a journey and has never necessarily gotten off that path of being a journey for Goku and everyone that he's picked up in between. And
it's like just taking you where life just takes you, because it's not like the first episode started with Goku meeting Roshi and Roshi tells him about the tournament, because the tournament was a goal, and that was one of Goku's goals, is to win the tournament. But in the overall spectrum of things, Dragon Ball started off as a journey, and when you look at it from, I guess, like a higher perspective, the tournament, which is a part of Goku's journey, the same way as, helping Appa, the same way as fighting Piccolo Daima, like, these are just all journeys for him in the grand scope of things. He's never really had a set goal from day one,
Well, yeah, and like, in terms of the tournament was part of his goal, because the tournament was supposed to be kind of comprised of the strongest fighters in the world, and Goku wants to fight the strongest people. And yeah, like, he conquered in Dragon Ball, he conquered the tournament. Like, if you want to think of it like in terms of story wise and character dynamic, like, that's the journey of Dragon Balls. He's conquering basically the earth, and then I guess in Dragon Ball Z he conquers the galaxy. In Dragon Ball Super he's conquering the multiverse. To be fair, like, that's kind of what it is. Like, that's why and if you take it even in that context, that's why tournaments have played such an important part of Dragon Ball as a whole, because he conquers this, that, and the other, like, but through tournaments. I mean, we're going into the Tournament of Power right now. Obviously, this is going to play a huge dynamic, and it's going to show us a lot about Goku's character. It already has, in terms of what he realizes the stakes of this tournament, and yet he still approaches it like the child that he was in Dragon Ball. And like, I just personally think that is indicative of the entire series, and why, as much as we want to sit around, and we do, I feel like it's impossible for people who, like us, who make videos about this, who watch this show intently and make videos and talk about it, stuff that we love. We inevitably are going to have problems with this series. And with all that said, I feel like this is one of the reasons why we won't ever really give up on the show, is because, unlike everything else where it can just be dragged on, like, I know Naruto, a lot of people who like Naruto really hated that it was being dragged on with filler and everything, but Dragon Ball Super had, like, regardless of what you think right now, is in a filler situation, and it's still kind of exciting to see exactly where they're going, not only because everything right now is new, there's no defined ending, but at the same time, Dragon Ball isn't built the same way that Naruto is. It literally has no goal. It's just continuing onward. It just pushes forward no matter what. Goku has no defined goal. He doesn't necessarily want to beat Beerus. He doesn't necessarily want to beat Whis. He doesn't necessarily want to beat Zeno or the Grand Priest or Jiren or Toppo or anyone else.
He ain't beating Zeno, brother.
He ain't gonna beat Zeno, but like, the point is like, yeah, like, he doesn't necessarily want to. He just wants to have fun. And there's, when you think about, and maybe this is just me, but I think about shows and movies and television that I've seen. I mean, there's very few shows and television series, movies and everything, where I'm just looking at it like, Is the whole point just to have fun and all this other stuff? And I really feel like that's one of the reasons Dragon Ball is so endearing, is because it really is all about the journey and not about the end product. And if we like the endings, if we praise the endings, that's fine, but it doesn't matter if it's a bad ending or a good ending as long as you enjoyed the journey.
I know this is a bit kind of, off topic, but when you just mentioned the whole, like, is it all about to have fun, is this what this is really all about? To sort of back up your claim here, I mean, just take a look at what happens at the end of the Buu arc. You have all of this crazy shit happen within the span of, what, like 2 days?
Uh-huh.
Just so much shit happened, like Buu kills Vegeta, or Vegeta kills himself to try and take out Buu. Buu takes out everyone on Earth, and then he blows up the Earth, and then in the anime he goes around blowing up planets before he fights Goku and Vegeta. It's like so much shit happened within the span of just 2 days, but when all was said and done, what was the words that Goku spouted before actually killing Buu? Hey man, you're pretty strong. Maybe you can come back one day. It would be real fun to fight you again. It's just like, I know that's more like a Goku character type video, but it's just, that's what it really is. Like after everything was done, after all the problems this guy has caused for Goku and his friends and family, at the end of the day, before Goku killed him, he told him, he had a request, come back one day because you were pretty strong. Let's fight again, but this time as a good guy. I just feel like that kind of just sums up Goku's character and really the story of Dragon Ball. It's like Goku goes through these endeavors and he goes through these trials and errors and stuff throughout the story, but really, bro, it's just about the journey. It's just about having fun,
Mm-hmm. No,
in my opinion.
No, I completely understand and agree. Anyway, guys, tell us what you think about this in the comment section below. Do you feel like Dragon Ball Super should have a legitimate ending? If you think that it should have a legitimate ending, or a definitive ending, I guess is a better term, tell us what you think it should be, because man, I'm at a loss, honestly. I feel like
here's the ending. The ending is gonna be Bra and Pan in the gravity room, and they're gonna be like, "You beat me last time." And she's gonna be like, "Well, let's see if you can do it again." They're gonna go at it. The Rocky music's gonna play. They're gonna go boom, and then that's when it's gonna end. That's how it's gonna end, bro.
I would like that Rocky 3 ending, guys. Tell us what you think about Rocky 3 ending. Anyway, please make sure to go check out MJ. He makes some awesome content for you guys, daily anime content for anyone who's interested. And don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, share to all your friends if you want. And we're going to catch you on the next video. Bye.